What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at all the new black cards coming from EX-01, that new special collection. All the cards have been revealed, we are working our way through. I like to go through every card, it makes me happy. So let's start off with Caramom. Usual deal here, shout out to the lovely folks at DigimonCard.dev for the translations. And obviously, because we're doing a lot of cards in one go, we are going to have to be a little quicker than we usually would. So, Caramon here. In terms of the stats, we've got a free cost to play normally, 0 cost to Digivolve, 2000 power, all extremely standard. And we have one inheritable skill on your turn for each other Digimon you have in play with the same name as this Digimon. This Digimon gains 1000 power. And frankly, this is the Diaboromon thing. Remember the whole hook of Diaboromon, since the card game came out, has been, let's play lots of Diaboromon tokens. Let's try and swarm the field with Diaboromon tokens. That is what Diaboromon does. So here, and you can use it in other decks, don't get me wrong. But the theory here is you Digivolve up to Diaboromon, and then you get a whole bunch of tokens out. So this becomes Diaboromon. There are 4 Diaboromon tokens. Boom. Extra 4000 power. It works. Thing is, we've got the Caramon from BT2. If you play another Digimon that has the same name as this, you draw a card. I.e., every time you play a token, you get to draw a card, which I think a lot of the time I would rather have, because draw power is extremely powerful. That's the only other level 3 option you've got. So, yeah. Choose between them, or even play them both. You're going to need more than 4 level 3s in a deck. If you're playing a Diaboromon deck, this is absolutely one you need to consider pretty gosh darn strongly. Now, Haguram here, we've got that same 302,000 stat line. And when you play it, you may trash a Digimon card with Machine or Cyborg in its type to draw 2. Okay. That seems good. That seems really good. I like this one. Now, you've got to be willing to trash that Digimon, of course, and, well, that one's up to you, quite frankly. But it is one which is absolutely worth bearing in mind. You get to swap one of them for drawing 2 cards. And DigimonCard.dev have been pretty good with their translations, and it does say you may trash a Digimon, not from your hand, etc., so it seems to be a Digimon in play. So now, all of a sudden, we want to actually have a Cyborg or Machine Digimon that has a deletion skill. And although there's no machines with deletion skills, correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong about that, we do have some Cyborgs. A Guardramon from BT4. On deletion, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may play a Guardramon from among them without paying its memory cost. So you delete that. You hopefully get to replace the Guardramon while drawing 2 cards. I cannot be the only person that thinks it's a pretty gosh darn good idea. I think that's the only option we've got for the moment, but as I always say with these kind of things, do bear in mind that new cards will be released in the future. So even if it doesn't work yet, there is an excellent chance that it will in the future. So something to bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Something to bear in mind. As a dude who wants to play around with Commandramon a lot, I like Haguram. Now, we've also got a new Chrysalis Mon, and here we got a 4 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 5000 power, all pretty standard for a level 4. And you got an inheritable skill that on your turn, once per turn, where another Digimon with the same name as this Digimon is deleted, unsuspend this Digimon. So again, we've got very much a Diaboromon thing going on here. It seems to be that's where we're going with this. But essentially, when one of your Diaboromon tokens gets deleted, and remember, as soon as it's in play, a token does just count as Diaboromon. As soon as one of those Diaboromon tokens gets deleted, you get to unsuspend the Diaboromon that has Digivolved from this. That seems pretty powerful. Now, there are, of course, a couple of other options you've got here. The Chrysalis Mon that came around in BT2. When you play another Digimon with the same name as this Digimon, you gain a memory. So, essentially, every time you play a token, you gain a memory. That is a very good skill that some people will want to play instead, quite frankly. That is one that some people will be gravitating towards. And then we've got the promo version of it as well, which, on your turn, this Digimon and all your other Digimon that share a name with it gain Rush. Now, that's actually from BT5, I should say. And this is important because Rush means you can attack the turn you play it. Which actually means that all of those Diaboromon tokens you play, they all gain Rush. So you can attack with those tokens the turn you play them. That's a pretty big deal, ladies and gentlemen. That is a pretty big deal. Again, there are choices to be made. I will leave you to make those choices. This is good. It's not the only choice. Now, there is a new Guardramon which is coming along here. And we got 5 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 6,000 power. It's on the higher end power-wise of a level 4, but it's nothing too out of the ordinary. And it's got Blocker. Honestly, we probably should expect this. I mean, firstly, it's a black card, and black cards have more than your average amount of blockers. And secondly, it's literally called Guardramon. And I know that my Digimon knowledge is not up there with a lot of yours, and that is absolutely fine. But it's got guard in its name. I think it's probably going to be a blocker. What is interesting is that it also cannot attack, which is exactly what we saw with the Guardramon from BT2, which also was not allowed to attack. So far, it is actually just a reprint of the Guardramon from BT2, in that it is a blocker that is unable to attack. But there is another skill, which there should be, because it actually has 1,000 less power, so if it didn't have another skill, it would just be a bad version. It's got an inheritable skill. When you are attacking, you may trash a Digimon card with Machine or Cyborg in its type to trigger Draw 2. Oh. Well, it's an attacking version of the same skill that we just saw on Haguramon here. And I'm kind of into that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm kind of into it. Now, again, we want some good deletion skills here, and we only really have Commandramon. That's the only option we've got at the moment. But if you've got a Digimon that's not doing you any good, if you've got a Digimon you're not going to use, or even late game, like, I love this in the late game. If there is one card that you need to draw right now in order to win the game, get rid of one of your other Digimon. Like, if you're going to lose anyway, trashing your Digimon just doesn't matter. And drawing those extra 2 cards can be the difference between winning and losing. I love this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think you're going to want to use it every turn. You're not going to want to keep trashing your Digimon. But the option of being able to do this is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Moving over into level 5s, we have a new Etimon coming in here. 8 cost to play normally, 3 cost to Digivolve, 7,000 power. So it's 1 more than we would generally expect to play, but nothing too out of the ordinary. On your turn, when this Digimon evolves into a Digimon with Etimon in its name in your hand, reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 1. Now, there is a Metal Etimon I'm going to show you in a moment, but it is only Etimon we've got at the moment. That's like your only option here. We've seen 2 Etimon, well, including this one, and 2 Metal Etimon, including the one I'm just about to show you. So instead of a 3 cost to Digivolve, it becomes a 2 cost to Digivolve. And you're talking 10,000 power on your turn, 12 on your opponent's, but it can't be blocked, so it's not a card which has really been setting the metagame on fire up to now, although, like I've said, we've got a Metal Etimon I will be showing you in just a moment. But it's still a very cool option. And I keep saying this, but it's going to keep being true, and I'm going to keep having to say it. There will be more Metal Etimon and things of that nature in the future. So even if you're not loving the one we can Digivolve into now, there will be more options in the future. But we've also got an inheritable skill. On your turn, while this Digimon has Etimon in its name, this Digimon gains jamming, which means that you will not be deleted in battles against security Digimon. Now, if we combine that with the Metal Etimon I showed you just a moment ago, that means you might only have 10,000 power, but it's 12,000 on your opponent's turn, more than the average level 6, and you can't be blocked. And you've got jamming, so you're not going to be deleted by security Digimon. That makes you pretty gosh darn difficult to actually start taking down. I kind of like this. This is kind of cool. And to be fair, the other Etimon was a blocker that on deletion you revealed 5 cards on the top of your deck, and you could play a level 6 of Etimon in its name from among them without paying, so that was a pretty good card given that it had blocker, and you could get deleted and potentially play a Metal Etimon for free. But then again, that wasn't guaranteed, so it's one of those you'll have to figure out how likely it was to actually work. Either way, we got some good options here, and that makes me pretty gosh darned happy indeed. But I do keep telling you there is another Metal Etimon here. Frankly, we're getting to the stage where it's going to be pretty rude if I don't show you the new Metal Etimon. So what we've got here is an 11 cost to play normally, 3 cost to Digivolve, 10,000 power, which means once again we got 10,000 power, which is below the average for a level 6. But this is an 11 cost to play normally rather than a 12, so it's not the end of the world. On your opponent's turn, for each Digimon card with Etimon in its name in your trash, this Digimon gains 1,000 power. This is ridiculous. Like, as it stands at the moment, by the time this comes out, we're going to have 4 Etimon, 4 Metal Etimon from BT3, and 4 Etimon, 4 Metal Etimon from EX-01, which is 16 in total. So this could be a 25,000 power Digimon. Now that's very unlikely. You would have to have played this over a different Digimon or hardcasted it with all the other 15 in your trash. But it's possible. It is possible that this could be a 25,000 power Metal Etimon. And that is kind of ridiculous. Now, that's on your opponent's turn, not on your turn. It basically makes you very difficult to delete. And it means that it is actually thematically very similar to the other one, which I very much appreciate. There is a lot to be a little bit excited about here. This is a very, very cool card. And on deletion, you trigger D-Digivolve 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon. That's where you trash the top card of that Digimon stack. So if it's a level 7, you take it down to a level 6, and so on and so forth. So we got a nice deletion skill coming in here as well. I'm still not sure how good it's going to be, though. Because the thing is, I like everything about the card, pretty much. I love how you can be super beefy, but it's kind of like a monkey's paw. Ha, no pun intended. Because you got the big power, but it's only on your opponent's turn. On your turn, you're kind of weak. You got D-Digivolve 1, but that's not always going to be super useful, and even then, it's only D-Digivolve 1. There's so much that can be good here, but I'm not sure it ever really adds up to enough. I'd like to be wrong, though. And that leaves us just one more card to talk about. It is a new Boltmon. Now, here we got 12 cost to play normally, 4 cost to Digivolve, 12,000 power. Everything is 1 more than we would generally expect. And we've got Reboot, which is cool. Reboot, you unsuspend on your opponent's unsuspend phase. Now, Reboot is actually really cool because we've got all of those things like Puppetmon that stop you unsuspending on your unsuspend phase. They don't actually work against Reboot because you just unsuspend on your opponent's unsuspend phase and you're off and rolling, which is slightly upsetting, but there's not much you can do about it. It's good, quite frankly. Having said that, we got that toy Haguram that can give anybody Reboot. So I'm not sure how good this really is when it comes down to it. Whether it's worth playing a level 6 for this when I could have so many others. Although the 12,000 power is cool. But when you Digivolve, you trigger D-Digivolve 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon. Again, this is fine. But D-Digivolve 1 is not exactly some huge powerhouse thing. We've seen this on many other Digimon in the past. You know, Machinedramon's got blocker, and when you play it, you D-Digivolve 2 to 2 of your opponent's Digimon. That is likely to have a bit of an impact. This, far less so, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is one that I absolutely could be wrong about, and I would be delighted if I was wrong about it. It's a cool-looking card. But Reboot is fine, we can just get it elsewhere. And D-Digivolve 1 is fine, it's just not particularly powerful. And we just end up being meh. I don't know. I'd like to be wrong about this, and I would very much like to know what you think about all of this, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.